So Patrick and I were debating the concept of duplication. So we're talking about that, and I've been doing recruiting for so long. I was so Patrick, I don't know if I want people to listen to me because I like do my thing, right? You just sort of do it unconscious, and it's one of those unconscious competence that someone listens to me do it. It's like, I don't know if they're going to get anything valuable. I was lamenting, oh gosh, I'm not messing them up. I mean, like, they will think of me like PM77 tape, like, oh God, I couldn't do that. And if you ever reproduce what's going on in my head, there's all kinds of stuff going on in my head. I don't know that you could, but you're a valuable asset to the Alliance when you can teach something that you're good at. If you can't teach it, then you can't duplicate it. And then what good are you to us? I mean, God bless you, you could recruit, but if you can't teach other people how to recruit, well then, you're only good enough, but you can't be great unless you're able to duplicate yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when I break down, kind of the basics of what I do, it's like, really what I do is very simple. It's exactly how I teach selling. Like when you think about it, the process of the recruiting process, and I'm always big on, you don't have to memorize anything. In fact, I was recruiting someone, talking to someone today, it was yesterday, and he was like, he started with me, got his license, and he decided to go with AIL, right?
Oh, goodness.
And he was telling me all about why he didn't like AIL. Like, he was telling me all the stuff I know about, and I'd go, oh my gosh, I can't believe, really, they do that? Oh my God. I was like, gosh, he didn't tell me it was AIL, but he said, yes, this company that does this thing with unions, and they make you work, and they're telling us we got to work 24/7. It's like 7 days a week you got to work, from 9 to 8, and like their whole work ethic thing, it's like amazing. And I go, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And he was saying this stuff. Well, the one thing that stood out to me, they have to memorize, Will,
That's right.
a 7-page script, in-home script. I go, oh man, so how do they know that you know it? Well, I had to do it for somebody, and they graded me on it before I could go out with somebody.
They videotape you.
Do they?
Yep.
It was like this whole thing.
Oh my word.
God, I could never make it at AIL
It's terrible.
because of that. It's like, that's not my thing, So I just when I was hearing him go through all the detail, it's like, oh man, I'm so glad I'm with the Alliance. Because it's not about memorizing anything, it's about understanding the process of what you're trying to accomplish, right? So what are you trying to accomplish when you're recruiting? Rob, what are you trying to accomplish?
Trying to find out first what their interest level is, and then...
No, you make deep. What are you trying to accomplish? It's like begin with the end in mind. So what is the end in mind? What are you ultimately trying to accomplish when you're recruiting?
Get someone in class.
Okay. Let me say that's too much pressure. That's too much pressure. Here's what my objective in recruiting is determining whether or not this person, number one, they're good for our opportunity. Are they good for our opportunity or not? Right? Is there a match? Is there a match here? That's all I'm trying to determine. Is there a match? If there is, then let's move forward. If there isn't, let's not. It's pretty simple. My job is not to try to get them into class, because to me, that's kind of limiting, because now when I think of things like, okay, I'm going to try to get you into class. So what do I got to say to you to try to get you into class?
Yeah.
Then I'm trying to sell her on trying to get into class.
Right.
Does that make sense? As opposed to, my approach is, I wonder if you're a good fit. I wonder if you're a fit for what we do. Because if you're not a fit, then you really shouldn't. You're going to waste your time with us.
Right.
Like, it's almost beneficial for them to know that they're not a right fit as it is for me.
That's right.
Does that make sense? Is there a match here? Because if there isn't, God bless you. Because not everyone should be in the Alliance.
Right.
Right? Our thing is not the right thing for everybody. It's the right thing for certain people, but it's not the right thing. And sometimes it's not the right thing now. It could be the right thing later. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So think about what you're trying to accomplish. If your objective is, I wonder if you're a good match. Isn't that a different than, I got to get you into class. Got to get you in class. So when you shift your mind on what you're trying to accomplish, then your approach changes, right? The process changes. Okay, so that changes how you talk to people, my opinion. Okay. Yeah.
So it's not trying to, your mindset, and that's what's bringing them on board, but just filtering out the ones you don't think are going to work.
There you go. It's a filter. Absolutely, it's a filter. Like actually, when you think about sales, this is kind of this is more of the Sandler sales mentality. That's another way to think about selling is, can I help you? Do you deserve to be a client? Do you deserve to be my client? Can I help you? And do you deserve to be my client? Like I had one of my agents was in a sales situation, and so it was kind of like rough from the outset. This woman, she's kind of a little bit mentally disabled, not fully, but she's, functional.
Like me.
But she has to have an outside person managing her money. And she's trying to write insurance on this person. And so he said, well, I'm not sure if I should submit this application. It's not all the way done yet. Because I told her legally, if they fill it out and sign it, you're legally bound to submit it. Okay. She said, well, it's not all the way filled out. And she said, should I talk to the person handling her money? I go, yes, you need to talk to the person. So I talked to the person handling her money. She goes, she's got these issues. Her kids have these issues. We just went on and on. And it was like a chargeback waiting to happen. It was like, oh, man. Her person was saying she's always out of money. She's, we're talking, she only makes like, I forgot, it was like $1,000 a month. And it was because she has 2 kids, they're Social Security. So because she has 2 children, they're receiving Social Security and she's receiving Social Security, and her kids are old enough to potentially move out of the house.
Oh,
You know what happens when they move out of the house?
It goes away.
It's gone.
Right.
So it's like, we want to help them, but, it's probably not prudent to do it. They're just like, again, do they deserve to be my client? Can I help them? Okay. So that kind of changes maybe your approach when you look at a client. But when it comes to recruiting, are they a match for this? Okay. So I have a very simple approach. I mean, I say all kinds of stuff different just to keep me, I'm so bored at it. It just bores me. There are a lot more things that bore me, but, I can just, it's like, oh my gosh. So how I keep myself on edge is I overbook myself where I'm always running behind, where I'm praying for someone to no-show me so I have time to breathe. Because nothing would drive me more crazy than having a long time to wait till my next interview. And I'm just, I'm trying to be productive, but, short spurts. Like, I'd rather be on the edge, like, oh man, I'm behind already. I got to go through this one. I'm not trying to rush everybody. Sometimes I'll take my time when I need to take time. But to keep me from getting, incredibly bored, I book 15-minute increments. If they have a license, I book 30-minute increments. And then the instruction that I send out to them, that my staff sends out to them, is I can call them within the hour. So I've got, if I book it at 4:15, I'll call them between 4 and 5 p.m., within the hour. So I have some fudge time, right? I'm always using that fudge time, again, praying for a no-show. So that's one thing that kind of keeps me snapping, and things fly, things fly. So let's get to the process. So it mirrors the way I sell. Bond rapport, pain finding, okay, and it's pretty much upfront contract. Talk about the opportunity, and then yes or no. So remember, my whole sales process is based on them closing themselves. So I really want them to close themselves. Like, So here's my end in mind. Here's what I want to hear from them. Either not for me or what's the next step. So the buying signal, okay, is okay. So what's the next step? I don't say that. I let them tell me. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to end like that. Well, what's the next step, Alex? Or, well, it sounds really good what you showed me. I just need more information. So this is what I get most, like 95% of the time, really. Okay, so I throw that possibility when someone says it's not for me. It's like very few, small percentage of people say that. More often than not, I tell them it's not for you. Okay, so it's more like it's not for you, but majority is, they'll say, what's the next step? Okay, then I close it. The next one is more information. Then I have a process for that. And the next one is, this is not for you. Not for you. And sometimes it's mutual, not for you. Okay, those are the 3 outcomes that I typically get. And so that's how I kind of march people through bond rapport pain. So let me let you hear how that sounds. Okay, let me show you what it looks like. So bond rapport, when I talk to someone, I do just some of the lamest opening lines. It's very lame. Like seriously, very lame. So I see where they're from. Okay, I see where they're from, and I've been recruiting a lot in Ohio. And I say, oh, 419. So that must put you. Is that Cleveland? You in Cleveland, or is that Toledo? Toledo? Yeah. Okay. I got this great guy in Toledo, this pharmaceutical rep. I'll fire up about him. He went up to see Stephen Davies.
Oh.
Here's what's cool about what he said. He said, it's just a little bit longer to get to Columbus to see you. I go, you don't need to see me. You need to go see Stephen Davies and Gina Hawks up there in Detroit, and Romulus. And so he came back from that, and he said, yeah, it's funny. He was that guy's hilarious. And he goes, yeah, he was really good. He goes, but I really like your style. And it's like, Anyway, I was glad he went to see Stephen Davies and to see like the bigger crowd or whatever. But he was like, had all these great questions. Anyway, I liked him a lot. So you're out in Toledo. Great, man. I guess I hear they have the Toledo Mudhens up there. And they go, oh yeah, the Mudhens are here. Or this one gal said, yeah, they're here. I can tell that whether they're into it or not. I just joke about it. And then I say, I just love that name, Mudheads. We had the Dayton Dragons. Dayton Dragons is pretty boring. There's just something about Mudheads, and they just crack up. And that keeps me from getting bored. I just find humor in anything, like Mudheads. Another one I use is weather. Like it's raining in Dayton, so it's and they're in Cleveland. So you're in Cleveland, man, is it raining up there like it is here? Oh yeah, man, it's like pouring. Yeah, man, it's terrible. It's terrible down here.
It's terrible.
It's so lame, but people love talking about weather. It's like, I don't know why. Another one is sports. Well, especially with guys, So the guy thing, women I won't talk about sports, but if it's a guy, it's like, dude, what do you think about Baker Mayfield going up to Cleveland? Cleveland goes, oh man. And I just test them because I really don't have an opinion one over there. I kind of can't wait to see him actually play for the Browns. He goes, oh man, they might just be repeating the same mistake with Manziel. I go, yeah, maybe. We'll see. Look, it's kind of cool to look forward to something like that. He goes, well, yeah, it is kind of. And we can kind of break the ice. So I'm always looking at breaking the ice and kind of just getting into it. So that's where I start the bond rapport. And it's very quick. I don't take a long time, right? I don't take a long time. But what it does for me is it kind of gives me a feel for their attitude and mindset. Are they positive people? Are they negative people? Are they, do I feel like they're a jerk? Or do I feel like they're real positive? Do you got this positive, like Katie? I would love to talk to her on the phone. Oh, yeah. She's probably just all like this. And it's like, oh man, I'd be so into it, you know. And I enjoy people like that. And to me, that just kind of tells me about them. She'll be great in front of clients. I just know she'll be great in front of clients, right? And then, you know, then I get some of these other guys that are they got a real kind of monotone that's like...
On the defensive a little bit?
No. He's asked me a lot of questions, but he's sincerely interested. But he's one of those real hard... He's telling me he drove down from Cleveland to see me in Columbus Tuesday. Good guy, but, you know, just kind of checking out. But we created a bond rapport. But that's what I do. I just find out a little bit about them, get a feel for them, so I know what I'm dealing with, okay? And then the other thing I do is to help me, Rob, is I try to think about, what is this person like someone I know? Like, are they kind of like Patrick, or are they kind of like Mike, or is there something about them that kind of reminds me of somebody? And for some reason when I do that, I think I relate to them better when I think about like I'm talking to that kind of personality type. Because I know how that person is, now this person may not be like that, but it's sort of that general vibe, their spirit about them that kind of reminds me of someone, right? That helps me a little bit in kind of understanding them. The biggest thing about this whole process is seek first to understand. Just like your client, seek first to understand them. I want to get to know them. I want to know what makes them tick. And remember, they're the ones that answer my ad, right? And every time, like, it just really reinforced. The last couple of weeks have been insane recruiting. I mean, 20 interviews a day. Like, I in fact, driving back from New Jersey on Saturday morning, I had interviews set up while I was driving back, which on Saturday is pretty insane. So, the pain process. So, what I do to jump from here to here, typically I'll have the resume. Okay, so when I have the resume, I will take a look at it. And I look at resumes from the bottom up. Because the bottom part talks about their activities and extracurricular. Again, that's where I can create more bond and rapport. Does that make sense? So when I see Boy Scout, when I see Cub Scout leader, troop leader, oh man, I'm all over that. When I see church activities, praise and worship, or whatever, I'm all over that. There's so many things that reveal something about them at the bottom of the resume. When I was a headhunter, I always did that too. I read their resume from the bottom up because they reveal stuff. Why do they put that stuff on their resume? Well, because they're trying to express themselves who they are. They want you to know what they're interested in. They want you to know that they volunteer. Like, I love the ones that say they volunteer for different things like soup kitchens, and it's like, whoa, I got someone who's into service. Like, would you want someone that is into service in your life?
Yes, absolutely.
Right? It just reeks because they say it. And some of the coolest things I've seen, like ministries. The other thing that it reveals, is maybe I can talk to them from Christian to Christian. Like, I do not do that all the time. But when I know I can't do it, I'll let them lead me there, but I'm not going to go there right away. Because, by the way, the worst thing you can do upon rapport is to point out something stupidly obvious about their name. Like pardon me?
Like a Michael Jackson, for example.
Yeah, or Greg Norman. I interviewed a guy named Greg Norman.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say squat about his name.
Right.
Why? Because every nerd recruiter has said, Greg Norman, you must be a great golfer. Oh my God, how many times have they heard that?
Yeah.
I always stay away from it. In fact, the one I did 2 weeks ago, this guy went to West Point. Now you would think, she talked to him about the Air Force Academy. It's like, that's a little bit too obvious. I don't want him to think that's too obvious. Like, I'm trying to build a bond rapport with another guy from the service academy. I checked him out, talked to him, and if I liked him, but I wasn't going to do that because I would rather have him find out I went to the Air Force Academy if he's checking me out, and he's thinking, wow, he didn't even mention that. Well, maybe he doesn't think highly of me going to West Point. It's like, well, sometimes I don't because I haven't seen a whole lot of service academy grads make it with us. So it's not like, you would think, but it hasn't really shown me to be an advantage one way or the other. But again, I really kind of go anti the obvious, So those are the kinds of things, but please don't do that because then you sound like all the other recruiters trying to recruit them.
Yeah.
So I look from the bottom up, and all those things give me opportunities to build bridges. So the bottom report process is building bridges with people. Like, remember when you were dating your spouse, you were building bridges with them. Hey, so, what do? Do you go to church? I mean, just things come out that you can build commonality, right? And so the bottom of the resume is a fantastic place to look for that. So that is the bottom report, which bridges you to the pain. So when I read the resume, it's almost like I don't care about the resume. I really don't. What I care about is what they want to do. But I do the resume question just to get it the heck out of the way, because it's like something they do expect is, about their background. And so I find something funny, cool, something I don't understand, because I always like to learn stuff too. There's this guy, the software developer, that was really like this expert in Agile. Okay, I've been out of the program management business for a long time. So when this thing said Agile and this other thing, I go, so tell me about this Agile thing. I told him I was a program manager, and like the major reasons for schedule slips is software coding. He goes, oh yeah. And so tell me about this Agile thing. And he was so into telling me about Agile because he was an expert in it. So one good way to build bond rapport is ask them something that they're passionate about in their background. And they're just like all over it. It was just cool. I didn't have to say another word. He was just like going off, going, oh man, I can't believe that the software development process has progressed like that. Gosh, I wish they had that back in my day, So that's another thing I do, is I get them talking about something they like to talk about, something they're passionate about. So ultimately, I go to the last thing they did. And then I just mention, Patrick, this is interesting because it is systematic. It's really what I do. How I get to each one of these points is I meander, but I always get to these milestone points. So the milestone point on the resume is, what is the last thing they did? So I see that you're currently doing this, because a lot of times it'll say from 2000 whatever to present. Okay, and I say, so you're currently working here at this company. It says you're still working there, and half the time they aren't working there.
Right.
The resume hasn't been updated. It's like, well, I got laid off, or whatever. Or they say, yeah, I'm still there. Okay, so what does that tell me? It tells me a lot, doesn't it? That they're really hard up looking for a job, or they're really looking for something different. Or it could be both, but it tells me more. It paints the picture about them, so I know how to talk to them. I know how to ask the question. So Alex, what do you do when you don't have a resume? Because on occasion, well, actually, maybe half the time I don't even have a resume. Well, then I kind of take them through the process. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me what you've done in your career that you're proud of. And I just shut up. And then when they reveal who they are through what they've done, I always pick out something, oh, well, that sounds kind of cool. Tell me a little bit about that. And to be, truth be told, I am interested in people. I always kind of look at it as, I'm at a party and I run into somebody, and so I want to get to know them. So I'm always asking questions, because I enjoy asking questions to find out about people. It's just something I love to do. But it is done with sincerity. And then eventually it comes back to, and then I just got laid off, or I'm just really looking for something new. I go, okay, well, let's talk about that. So that's how I do it, without the resume or with the resume. Then it comes inevitably to the question. So the question is, which is the pain finding. So tell me, why were you interested in talking to me today? Okay, do you hear how I phrase that? Why were you interested in talking to me today? So I put them in the proper place. In other words, they're asking me for a job. And it's not even so much for them as it is for me to talk to them properly. In other words, I set it up so that the relationship is, they're looking for a job, I'm the one with the job. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Sometimes we get into the opposite, where you're trying to beg someone how awesome the alliance is. It'll change your life. Andy Albright is so awesome. He bought a plane. I'm going to buy a plane. Oh my God. Then you sound like every other multi-level marketer out there. It's like the less is more. Less is more. The less you talk, the better. Just like in the sales situation, the less you talk. You are trying to be very word efficient, okay? I don't explain much, okay? So why are we just talking about today? Well, I mean, I got that email and I kind of looked at some of the stuff, or, it sounded interesting, whatever, they'll tell me why. And then I just dig more deep, I dig into it. And a lot of times they'll spill their guts. It's like, well, this is what happened, okay? And then they'll tell you their story, what brought them from there to here while we're talking, okay? They're gonna tell me all the clues, right, they're gonna give me the checklist of how to close them or not. They're gonna tell me things about what they've done, okay? And it might even, actually, it's not even that many. It's like maybe 2 or 3 of things that they didn't like about their company, things that they didn't trust about their manager, it didn't work out because they were lied to, et cetera, et cetera. And then I just listen. I'm just in listening mode. I'm writing down key things, because the opportunity, if we ever get to that point, explaining about what we do always is only going to talk about how it fits these things. I'm traveling all over the country. Like, I'm pulling this out from this week. Monday through Friday, I'm traveling to California, and then only see my kids Saturday and Sunday. It sucks. Oh man, it's terrible. What's another one? Tired of what I'm doing. I need something different. I want something that I can blah, 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 blah. Okay. Sometimes it's, man, I've maxed out the opportunity. I want to do something more. It's more of that, I want to accomplish more in my life. Okay, so all these things are clues. It's kind of like the question is the answer, or the answer is a question. The answer is, their answer is how I fit all this stuff into what they're looking for. The alliance is nothing more than what can fill their need. And if there's nothing we can do for them, like there's nothing. Very few have been able to get through our filter process about the 100% commission thing. That is a question at times, but it's not been, because we filter them out early. So I don't get that anymore. Because people that are playing with the idea, I address that when they ask that question. Does this make sense, Rob? Mm-hmm. Like, these are the clues that you will fit the alliance into, nothing more. Don't talk about changing their life unless they're asking, man, I'm just looking for a big change in my life. And then when I characterize the alliance, like, I don't say how it's changed, I say how it's changed my life, and I say how I know, okay, these are like little keys that work. I talk about me, I don't talk what it'll do for them. See, you're not telling Carolyn, this is going to change your life. That doesn't work. It's like, let me tell you how it changed mine.
Nice. Yeah, so much better.
So this is what it did for me, right? And I know a lot of other people. Now, this is the second thing. And there's a lot of other people that have done the same thing. There are a lot of other people in our business have done the same thing, right? You talk about other people in our business very similar to you in your situation that have done it with our program. And then I always say, it's not for everybody. I love that part. You know why? It's because they want this so bad to be for them. Right. And then I just kind of like, it's called strip lining. I let the thing go, and then I pull back when I say, look, it's not for everybody. And in their mind, they're going, "Oh God, please let it be for me." I think it's gonna be for me. Do you see how you kind of the tipping point when I like? Now you're thinking you're trying to convince someone. No, remember, they told me what they need, and I believe the alliance can give them what they need. At this point, it's massaging it so that. But I always say it because it's true. It's not for everybody. How many times have a general agent kind of painted the picture of the world of how awesome, and they've lied to the people because they've not been upfront with the downside. Okay, so when I talk,
That's right.
okay, so this is, again, process, dude. I'm glad we had that discussion, because now I'm thinking, I really go through this. I talk about how it fits, and then I go, downside. All right, I'll tell them, it's not for everybody. Now we got a lot of people that want to jump on board the train, but, they fall off or whatever. People quit. I mean, people make great money. Like our top guy made $500,000 last year. This guy named Bill Cook in New Jersey. And then we have a whole bunch of people that didn't make any money. So, look, I want to be real with you that, it could work for you. It has done this for other people, but, do you want to hear like some of the downsides of this business? Number one, can you deal with rejection? Our closing rate is 55%, so that means 45% is going to tell you no. Now, are you going to take that personally? You want to jump off a bridge when someone says no to you? Okay, I mean, is your self-image such that, is that going to hurt you? And then they convince me, no, I can handle it. It just cracks me up when they say that. I can handle it. Okay, and just want to make sure, because you're going to have a 68-year-old lady yelling at you that she never sent in this thing. Can you handle a 68-year-old? And I actually had this one girl said, she doesn't know me. She don't know me.
That is hilarious.
I mean, why would my feelings be hurt? Or they'll talk about the thing where they did 100, 300 calls a day. It's like, oh man, I do rejection all day long. That's not a big deal. Okay, I'm just telling you,
Right.
So I'll tell them that downside is rejection. Here's the other thing. Our business requires education and mentorship. Like, you can't just come in and think you're going to be awesome at it. You're actually going to fail. So can you handle failing until you succeed? Because a lot of people can't handle it. Let me give an example. Okay, so my example I give, if I'm talking to someone who's older, like in their 50s, okay, and I do this every time I talk to an older person, because I know this is what goes on. It's like, okay, dude, let me just be real with you. Okay, here's what I have, somebody who's older like me, talk about, they get in this thing, and the first rejection they get on the phone, someone yells at them on the phone, let me tell you what goes through their mind. What goes through their mind, Joe, is, oh my God, I'm starting all over again. I was doing this when I was 22. Joe, does that make sense? You're going to start comparing your failure today with your successes of the past. And some guys just can't handle that because they think they're starting over. Now, fortunately, the starting over and learning curve for us is only a few months, as long as you're willing to be mentored and you're willing to be coached, just like anybody. 21-year-old, 22-year-olds that get into this thing, man, they don't care if they fail because they know they're just starting out. They know that if they do this and don't make it, they've got other things in their life. They're just starting their life out. Remember when you were 22? So if you bring that attitude here that, hey, the learning curve's short if you're willing to work and get mentorship. So that's really the key. Can you handle it mentally that you're going to have to struggle at first to become good? And I'm telling him everything that he already knows, but I'm just emphasizing that part here. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So those are the things I need to get out on the table. And when I get it out on the table, then they feel like I'm being honest with them. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like, wow, this guy's like totally being real. He doesn't sound like the last 10 guys in the insurance business I talked to, because he's almost like trying to convince me not to get in.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of am, aren't I? Mm-hmm. Remember, the match is they got a need, we can fill it, but are they willing to withstand rejection? Are they willing to withstand failure at first to become successful? And then when they start spouting to me all these books they read about that, it's like, rock on. I got someone who reads, So do you understand what happens in the shifting of this is they start convincing me why they want to get in this.
Yeah.
And I go, wow, well, it sounds like, man, you've got the right makeup to make this work. Gotta shut up.
You love that, don't you?
I love shutting up. And then inevitably, they'll ask, so I'll ask, or they'll say, well, what's the next step? If I've captured them here, what's the next step? Or they'll say, well, I need some more info. Can you answer some questions for me? Absolutely. What questions do you have? And they ask me a question, I just, yeah, we'll cover that in training. Oh yeah, that's not a problem. You know, if it's something like meaty that is a go, no go, because a lot of them ask questions because they want to feel like they're interested and ask questions. If it's an important go, no go question, then I'll address it deeper. But I'll say, oh, that's not a problem. You know, you'll learn about that later. Not a big deal. Is that a showstopper for you? Oh, no, I just was curious. Okay, well, we'll handle that later. We'll handle that later. Get good at saying we'll handle that later. Is that a showstopper for you? Okay. That's how you can make these quicker, because you're trying to delineate. It's triage. You're doing a triage on their questions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So is that a showstopper for you, or do you really need to know? You really need to know that now? We'll cover that later. Okay.
How do you answer the question if they ask you, is it all commission, are there benefits?
Oh, I just tell them, the benefit of this business is you get to make as much money as you want to make. Do you see how I handled that? The benefit of this business is you can make as much money as you want to make. You can control your time. You can work this around your family. Okay? So this is all these situational questions. And I do that for the people that have families. And like they're looking to have that kind of control in their life. And they've already told me that. So I spin the commission thing in a positive way. And the other thing I do is like, and then I ask them questions. So, I mean, you tell me, why were people afraid of being on 100% commission? Well, I just don't have a regular paycheck every week. Yeah, I know, but why do you think salespeople don't have a regular paycheck every week? Well, they're not, they don't know if they're going to sell to anybody. Okay, we've got a lead program. We've got hundreds of thousands of leads around the country. You're not going to run out of people to call. You don't have to worry about the prospecting thing, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah, okay. But look, if that's a hang up for you, you can do this part-time. You can do this around your job to see if it'll work. Does that make sense? Well, yeah, it does. And that's what I did. I go, and that's what I did. When I first got started, I did it part-time. And then, within 8 weeks, I was cash flowing about $2,000 to $2,500 a week part-time. And then another month later, I quit my job. So now you can talk about other people that have done it. Like if you haven't done it yet, see, that's the thing about this. You always talk about other people. It makes it way better. Like if you've done it, then you can talk about this. I flushed my job. But if you haven't yet, talk about there's a bunch of people that, because remember, you're the hiring manager. I never get that, by the way. People wonder, and by the way, I don't tell them how much money I make. See, I'm not duplicatable if I tell them, well, I've made millions in this business. Listen, I've done this for a long time, 19 years, all I've done in insurance. That's about all. I don't tell them I make $1 gazillion. Right? Because I don't want that to be the factor. I don't tell them I drive whatever. Like, I'm not big on that stuff. That's, I want to get to know them. I don't want to attract them because I wear this expensive watch. I want to know them and attract them because we have a great opportunity for them. So, like, don't get hung up on what you drive or where you live or what is, not attractive about you. It's not about you, it's about them and the opportunity. Right? Did that answer your question?
Love that.
Dude! Justin Carson!
Hi, Justin.
house.
Hey.
Hey, so you've been running our leads?
A little bit.
Rock on, dude. We need to cover families. Good to see you, bro.
Hey guys.
Hi, how are you?
Justin, you had a question?
Yeah, what was the line that you said you tell them? It sounds like you have the makeup. Well, I didn't get the whole line.
Did anyone record that?
Yeah.
I did.
sounds like you have the makeup for this position.
That's exactly what you said before.
Did I? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I talk about the position. The people tend to be a little bit job-minded, so I say position. I'll say opportunity, but I try to steer away from opportunity as position because it's a job position we're trying to hire for. So I'll put them into that kind of mode, you know. For the real sharp ones that have management background, you know, I tell them about the career opportunity. Anytime I get into explaining the alliance, you know, especially particularly the ones that really haven't seen much on us, okay, there's a point here, like if they've not seen my business overview video, but they saw the stuff in the ad, you know, I'll tell them just real briefly, lead program, you know, we're hooked up with insurance companies, we need some help. When I talk about lead program, direct mail, but I don't put that in there just to put, you know, it's because they're looking for that information. So I really wait until they ask for it, and then, you know, we get into it. Can you tell me a little bit about this? I go, yeah, boom. I have this, like this where I turn my brain off, and I go into this spiel that's just real quick, and I can turn my brain off. But that's all that kind of the monkey stuff. And then I get to, well, what's the next step? So I send it to Brenda, my assistant, to fast track them, all that stuff. Well, I need some more info. It looks really good. I need more info. Okay, yeah, absolutely, I can get you some more info. So what I do is I send them, I've got this video called, what's it called? It's an overview. It's an overview video, like the sales overview, sales process overview. It's about 45 minutes, and it takes them from, I wanted to do a video that gave people starting our boot camp, kind of like, this is kind of the day in the life of an agent. I take them from downloading leads. So I show them, actually, I have the recording, shows them how I download leads. Like I go on my leads, I download leads, and then I show them how I actually booked an appointment. It was like, God, please let me book this appointment. So I go, so this is how we book appointments. So I get my leads, and then I actually book an appointment. I was like, oh man, I'm not going to have to cut this until I can book an appointment. But I booked the first appointment. It's kind of cool.
That is awesome.
People mention that to me. I go, yeah, I got lucky. And then I tell them what we do with it. It's like 45 minutes, just the whole loom to tune, kind of like the whole thing. So
And that's what it's called, is the sales process?
Sales process overview.
Okay,
Like that.
okay, and
It's
that's on
about
YouTube.
45 minutes.
Okay, great.
And then I send them something. I did that in my dial video. Do our leads work, or you just text me and I'll send you the exact links. I have a shortened version of this that's like maybe 25 minutes. Like I have a 3-hour version of it where I'm just dialing leads and purely, like, don't really use it to get trained on dialing, because I don't answer objections. I wanted to show people purely calling and doing our script who wanted to book appointment. And these leads were like 5 weeks to 5 months old. These were like old leads. I did this in October, and I have the 3-hour session on a Saturday morning that I did this, and I had all the dialing, and then I cut it down to speed up the ringing, which I hate ringing. It's just, that's the most grueling part of dialing is the incessant ringing. It drives me freaking crazy.
Yes.
I hate dialing because of that part.
That's funny.
And then I did a shortened version. It's about 25 minutes. So I show them a couple where I booked, a couple where I didn't book. I showed them one where the husband called me back. So what is this? And then it just shows me totally schmoozing him, man. I told you. And at the end he goes, well, I can't wait for you to come over. It went from, so you just talked to my wife, and so what is this about? And I just totally schmoozed him too. Well, yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, I can't wait for you to come over. It's hilarious. But I do show the things that don't work, right, that it didn't work out.
When they say they want more info, do you ask them what are they looking for?
I don't. That's something I've done that in the past where, so what do you need to make a decision? That's the question when they're in that mode, I go, so what do you need? I mean, what do you need to know this works? And every time I said that, it sounded like I was trying to convince them. So the conclusion I came to was, number one, the ones that want to join, they don't want to seem too eager. Is my sense is they don't want to seem too eager. So they want to do their due diligence, whatever. Typically, they're the ones that didn't watch my business overview at the beginning. So that's why I don't, they just want more info. Okay, I'll send you, let me know what you want to do. On occasion, if I feel good about them, like the conversation went really well, but they want more info. Because remember, I'm not trying to close them. If they don't want to be closed, if they don't do what's the next step, then I'm not trying to close them. I'm just going to give them what they want, more info. So I'm going to give them these 2 videos, and if I really like them, I will send them to a hotspot. Okay? If it's a hotspot that I trust. Like seriously, there's some I don't trust. Okay? Don't ask me which ones those are. Let me know if you have someone going to one that you're questioning, and I will let you know my opinion. Okay.
Hey, you trust us because we've had people here.
Yes, this is true. I love this meeting. So, but this doesn't happen all the time. Like I'll just send them those 2 things. Inevitably, my guess is about 70%. Well, like I had this gal like immediately watch it, and then hey, I want to get started. I want to pursue this, or oh, this one gal, she said, I accept your offer. She just said this back. I accept the position. And it was funny because I didn't offer her a position. So she totally did the assumptive close on me like crazy.
That's great.
Yeah, I had a couple people that I sent the President's Club videos to.
Oh.
Yeah.
And once I emailed to them, that's the last I ever hear of them.
Which ones are you sending them to?
The ones that Andy Lee, the opportunity, and then, what is it? Give me a second here.
Just a quick question. How do you introduce yourself? Just say, I'm outside. You say you're one of the managing partners? Do you say you're one of the recruiters? Would you say, hey?
No, I'll just say, hey Joe, how you doing? We have an interview set up, right? Avian Financial Group. He goes, oh yeah. I really don't sound anything.
I sent them how it works.
Oh yeah, okay.
The Alliance
good one.
opportunity, and then I sent them the overview, the Alliance company overview.
Okay.
And it seems like whenever I send them, that's the last I hear of them.
Well, I just send them what I send them. And maybe it's good they don't talk to you back, but they've already seen, not all of them, but when they've seen my business overview, they've at least got, and I asked them, so did you watch any of the business overview? That's sort of like, I understand kind of where they're at as far as their information. And then it allows me to kind of know where to proceed, But if they've seen it, then awesome. And then sometimes they go, yeah, man, I've seen all your videos. I go, all 525 of them? Oh, really? You got that many? Okay, so maybe I have a little bit of advantage there. But when they start digging into the alliance, it's like, yeah, I've done a lot of research on you guys. You'll get that, whether it's me or NAA or whatever. Yeah, it does a lot of research. Okay, cool. I don't ask them what they think. I don't ask them what their thoughts are on the research.
They're still on the phone with you. Why would they be on the phone?
I know. So I don't ever ask that question, okay? But I give them this, and then, like I said, about 70% will come back and say, hey, see you guys later. Yeah.
Bye.
Are they watching the video, any video before you speak to them? From your staff?
I offer them the chance to watch the business overview. Or not this one, I'm sorry, the How It Works video.
Before
the 3 minute.
you speak to them?
Yeah, before I speak to them. When they schedule on Time Trade, the instructions to them is, hey, why don't you watch this, this real short video on who we are, and I'll call you within the hour. And so that's why, for me, it's a question to see if they watched it or not.
So you're that's a filter as well.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Now, how much do you really say about the agency building portion?
Only for ones that I know have been in agency building mode before, or sales management mode, whether it's home improvement, and they tell me they had a bunch of guys working for them. Then I talk about, oh, by the way, we do have a career path here where you can get into sales management or an override on your producers, and we hire them all over the country, and we can help you do that as well. So I plant the seed, you know, but I don't like, if they ask me, want to know more about that, then I'll go into it. But if they don't say anything else, then I don't go, you know, I don't go there. Rob, make sense?
Yeah, so what do you know, I'd be jumping the gun here. So how much of the, when it comes to the opportunity, how much do you tell them? What do you tell them about the opportunity?
Yeah, so I'm only prompted by their questions. And again, it's really based on the questions they ask. So typically they ask, well, you know, do we have to generate our own our prospects? Like, I've talked about leads. This talks about leads, the how it works, but for some reason they kind of miss it. So they say, do I have to generate my own prospects? You know, do I have to go out and sell family and friends? Or they'll say, well, how does that lead program thing work? Whatever. And then this is my spiel. It's like, well, we have a direct mail lead program that's focused on 3 marketing areas. Mortgage protection, people looking for final expense burial insurance, and the third area is new marriages. So people just got married, and they're looking, you know, they're looking for help. And so what they put on the form, they put their birthday, height and weight, smoking status, best time to call, who to ask for, their 3 phone numbers, and they sign the bottom of the form. So we put them through an information gauntlet to make sure that they're serious about wanting someone to call them up. And then all my agents do is call them up, book an appointment, show them some options. They use our flip chart system, and you know, the client likes an option, we write it up, we close about half the people we sit down with, and it can get actually approved in minutes, and then you get paid in a couple days. The average commission right between $500-600. How long did that take? I mean, does it sound like I've done that like a gazillion times? And it typically covers anything they ever want to know. Because I always get that, well, you know, what's the closing rate? Sometimes from these nerdy guys like me, you know, what was the closing rate? So I just, you know, half the people. And so when I say stuff like that, their minds is churning. Like, okay, so if I book this many, so like I know how I know I got them is they go, well, how many leads am I allowed to have? It's like, it just depends on how much money you want to make. Can I stay in my own territory? Do I got to travel far? I go, well, if you can produce enough leads in your territory, which I look at before I do the interview, I look at where they're at. So I can say, yeah, we got a ton of leads there. It's like, yeah, we got a lot of people that are looking for help in your area. You probably don't have to go out of your county, but if you want to make a lot more money, then you might have to go to the surrounding counties. And then I tell them, and 2, there's some counties you might like better than others. Even if you have to travel an hour to the ones, your honey hole, we call them honey holes, sometimes it's worth it for you to go out an hour to cover that county. And it's just a process of learning which county. So why do I say that? Number 1, the assumption is our leads work. Number 2, you can go to whatever county you want to go. Number 3, it's like I'm already putting them in the car going out serving families an hour away. Does that make sense? It's like everything's a seed planting process, right? And they may not even remember I said that, but they felt like, wow, this thing is something. And then I promise you, I always say, well, yeah, we've been doing this 19 years. Use the longevity of the alliance to your advantage. How many fly-by-night companies are in business 19 years? It's like, yeah, we've really kind of learned how to do this. That's one thing. By the way, the downside is you got to really follow our system. I pound them with a baseball bat, this part. It's like, look, there's only one way to do this. In my 19 years of experience, you know, or you can say, well, in the 19 years of experience in the Alliance, no one's ever come to us with their own sales process and made it. Everyone's failed. You know, they've never come in with their Tom Clancy sales system. I always say Tom Clancy, I don't say Tom Hopkins. Just because it's funny to me. It's like, that one's because it's kind of a sarcasm.
Yeah.
No one's ever come with the Tom Clancy system and made it with us. Like, I promise you, the only way to do it is to do it our way. Now, some people, they're like your kids. I know. I bring in people, they're like your kids. You know how your kids don't listen. And so They listen and fail, and then the good ones come back and say, hey, it didn't work my way. I'm going to learn your way, and then they've made it. But, that's the other downside is you've got to follow a process. Like, seriously, if they think they're going to be a maverick, I don't want them in my company. Let's just get rid of them now. I pound that hard. Like, I'm really negative when I go to that part, especially the older ones that have experience in sales or the experienced insurance guy. I go negative on them. I go, look, if you're going to be one of those guys that, are going to just say you can do it my way and then you do it your way, like, dude, seriously, there are plenty of other companies that'll hire you, but it won't be here. Well, why reinvent the wheel? Oh gosh, if I've heard that a gazillion times, well, why would I want to reinvent the wheel? It's like, okay, well, I'm just telling you.
Well, apparently your way's not working for you.
Obviously. That's why we're talking right now.
Right.
So do you find in your ads, do you say looking for licensed or non-licensed? Do you even mention that?
I just say license is preferred, but we can, if you're willing to get one, we'll help you. Yeah. I've also found, like, I don't know that anything, I don't know if there's one specific ad type that works. I think all of them, it's just different types of people will, I tend to prefer short and sweet, just because I just less stuff to type, but yeah.
Last time, especially right after when you renew your license, you always get letters from every agency in the world trying to recruit you. What do you think about going to the Department of Insurance and getting a list of licensed agents sending them letters?
Yeah, he used to do that, actually. Levin Tovich was the one that used to always do that. In fact, he's doing it now. So what he's looking for is the ones that have their license like less than 5 years. And then, right, Justin, and then he's sending them out letters. And then they're also like getting the information where they can text them and doing all these other things to contact people. And it works. It works. Again, the young people, or the young license, the young license.
Early license.
Right, like 3 years, 5 years. Typically, that's the time where they figure out the thing they're doing is not working, like 3 years or less. And then they're like prime real estate. Because that database, 50,000, you can get 50,000 licenses, active or inactive. But that's Levin Tovich does that. So you should talk to Mike about how they do it. You do it here in Ohio. There's a lot of states that have that kind of info. I used to do that a little bit here. I used to actually have my kids kind of write the letters, put the stamps on them, and send them out. And that's just another part of your recruiting process, just to get, because you never know who you're going to get. That's the one thing about recruiting. People ask me, well, what's the way to do it? It's like you have to have balls in play. And having balls in play means you're doing a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Because the profitability on recruiting is so high that one good person will pay for all your recruiting investment from the prior year. I mean, that's how crazy good. That's why any little thing that works a little bit is worth doing. Like, it's a weird thing to say. Like, people ask me, Alex, you're pretty insane about tracking your numbers on sales. Like, do you have that for recruiting? Like, how many recruits and how many? It's like, I really don't. Just because it's not worth doing that tracking, because everything works a little bit, and you find one person randomly through one thing. Now, one thing I might be doing more of, like, the only thing that I've tracked is how many people that we fast-tracked that are unlicensed, how many come out of licensing
I knew you
with a contract. Huh?
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've ever tracked. And my number is, what I say, 30%?
It's just sick, dude. It's like vomitous.
Well, I don't know. I really don't know if that's good or bad. I just know that's what he's, and it's like, Patrick challenged me on it. And it was a number I got like 3 or 4 years ago. I did this study, like a nerdy study of specific NAA numbers of people that came through our process that didn't have a license and how many got contracted. And Patrick said, dude, I don't believe you.
And you said it's a third, and I'm like, there's no way.
I go, you mean you don't believe me? I can't believe you don't believe. In my mind, I was going.
Then he went so deep. Anyway.
Then I went crazy.
Yeah.
So I had Brenda give me all the names, and I drove her crazy. And then I looked myself, and I looked at through license coach, how many people, and and it was like 30%.
Wow.
It was still 30%, after all these years, still 30%.
Maybe
For us.
they might think that's bad numbers. They might not understand.
I don't know.
It's a crazy high number.
I don't know, but that's what our number, and I don't know that we do anything crazy or different or whatever. I think, here's what I think. I think because of this process, I think we get those numbers. That's what I think. Because we're not trying to convince people to get in.
Right.
Our objective is not to fast track, right? Our objective is to find a match. And I think maybe through our recruiting process, we find maybe a better match. That's why maybe those numbers are better. That's all I can explain. I can't give you anything more than that. We don't hold their hand. Look, I experimented.
Yeah.
Where we checked with them every day, going through class. Hey, how you doing? And I spent the labor hours for my staff to do that. Okay.
Right.
Do you know how much increase our numbers were?
How much?
3%. We went from 30 to 33.
Just from checking with them every day?
Yes.
Wow.
33 is all we got.
I'm shocked.
It's like all that money I spent for them to bother people is like that extra time I could have made up finding more recruiting more people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like why try to squeeze out more going through the process than to put more people in the funnel? Do you see like it didn't make monetary sense to go to that extent.
Exactly.
So I backed off from that. Now we just kind of do what we do. But again, I think it's this process, the match thing, I think, is why ours may be better.
That's great.
But again, I asked the ABTF, I asked Robert Kraft, he goes, I don't know what it is. Anyway. So, anything else? Rob, did you get something out of this?
Well, that's you.
Okay, now, dude, the recruiting skill is something that is almost kind of, it's a process of calibration, and the more you do, the better you're going to be. Like, even if I don't coach you, and you never heard this, eventually after 1,000 interviews, you're going to figure it out. So maybe I cut off that number a little bit for you, but you cannot shortcut experience of talking. See, what happens is you start kind of, what does Malcolm Gladwell call it? It's
Thin slicing.
Thin slicing. So you kind of start grooving into the people that you kind of know. Okay, I know this kind of person. And then, I know this kind of person. You just sort of like, but you got to earn that. It's like in sales, you got to do so many sales, right?
Yeah.
Recruiting,
Yeah.
in my opinion, recruiting is even more self, improvement. You can just do it really, the more you do it, the better you're going to get. I don't think you can do that in sales, but recruiting is just, boom, man, just keep doing it. And you're going to get good. You keep doing 150, like, geez,
That's
a
amazing.
month, dude. In a month, you'll be like really good if you keep those numbers up.
Well, I just saw those numbers on, wait, this up there. It's kind of like, I'm doing something wrong. The booklet was, I'm doing something wrong, so tweak me. We gotta figure it out.
Well, I'm sure after hearing this, you've probably thought about, this is why that, and this is,
Oh, yeah.
and then the people I'm talking to are just, they're really not the right fit anyway. It's like I need to get rid of them quicker, get through them quicker, right?
Yeah, because I scheduled every half hour, or actually every 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Rich?
I was going to say, is that about how long you spend on the phone with that first phone call? About 15
I spend
minutes, or?
I spend what I need to spend.
Okay.
Right? Because I'm hoping for a no-show that I can catch up. An event like this whole one morning, every freaking person showed up. So I was like an hour behind. And my no-shows came at the end of the day. So I had nothing to catch up on because it's like no-show. It's like, oh, great. You can't ever know when it's going to happen. But this day was like nuts. Will, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did. Looking at the way you do it over the years, 19 years of doing this, like the success rate from the people that you find that see our opportunity and just know that it's for them. Has this been developed kind of from the success you've seen over the 19 years out of people who rise and actually take advantage of it, or?
I don't know. Again, my objective is to see if it's a match. If it's a match and they come in, then I let everything else kind of wash them out or wash them in, like the system. I think everyone kind of gets to the point where after you've been in it long enough, everyone like Davies will exactly this process. He'll probably explain it differently, but he's got his process. Jason Carey, I mean, we just find people that get in and then they do what they do. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know really, like I said, I think maybe this has something to do with our getting 30% getting their license. But I think like everyone else, once they get their license, once someone gets their license, I think it puts them all kind of a level playing field. It's like, okay, I got my license. Like, getting your license is not that easy, as evidenced by the people that don't make it. Like, they can't pass the test or they just can't focus. I think more than anything else, they can't manage their life to the point where they can put enough time into class in order to get focused, to get through, to get their test done and getting their license. So I think no matter how people funnel people into getting their license, I think then everyone is at a level playing field with getting started. I think it's just getting to the starting line. How we get them there, I don't know that it. See, I get this too when people say I only want to hire licensed agents, because the advantage is they've already got their license, they've probably been in the home already, and so people think that's an advantage. Well, Patrick kind of made this clear to me. He goes, well, if that was the case with Andy, then none of us would have got in the business. And I think, me, Noel, Patrick, and like the team we brought, who had no insurance background, that blew Andy's income up to $1 million income in his first year, was our group. And the groups that we brought on, and my former upline, the guy that did 77, the people he knew. So I'm not, like Brant Swindell kind of said that on the thing, because, I just talk to licensed people all day. So, awesome, but were you licensed prior to joining the Alliance? I mean, that's why I tell everybody, and you were, right? So I don't know that has any advantage or not. I think at the end of the day, it's like what's in their heart, what they want to accomplish, are they the right fit with us? And I don't know until they get in and do something. Like let's take Wanda. Like, if was Wanda going to be successful? When she got in, she did stuff, and then she took a hiatus. So if you asked me that question during her hiatus, I go, she didn't make it. Then she came back. Then it's like, oh, well, I changed my mind. She didn't make it. Then she found Eric. I don't know that we could have predicted that. See, that's one thing. We just don't know what's in anybody's heart. So I've gone against it. Why have I gone against just licensed people? It's, oh my gosh, I've found so many good non-licensed people. Now, are they going to make it? I don't know, but I'm excited about them. And, there's something to be said for me being excited. If I'm excited every morning because I got new people coming on, oh man, then at least I'm going to stay in longer. Plus I don't want to give up my $17,000 bonus check. It has something to do with it. No, but really, sometimes recruiting, Rob, keeps you in the business because you always have hope that something good's going to happen when you bring more people in. Mm-hmm. It is the kind of thing that will keep you sticking with it. And then people tell me, well, all the people that I brought in the last 6 months, they quit. That's so awesome. Because you're just now you're ripe. Because you're going to find your next one. It could be the next one you find. Mm-hmm. So because we're having the conversation, that tells me that, hey, I can keep them in. Keep them longer. It's like, do you know how many people that took us to find you? Is that a powerful thing to say to somebody? Do you know how many people it took us to find you? And you're here. And get fired up. It'll be the same for you. You're going to find someone like you. You're going to find a Patrick Connors. a Mike Nolan, you might even find an Andy Albright. See, when you say stuff like that, it's like, oh man, maybe I will. I don't know that maybe we'll find, maybe one of y'all are Andy Albright. I don't know, but that's what I love recruiting. Yeah.
You know, not only does it matter what's in the person's heart, but it matters about the timing too. Because if I had called Eric 2 years ago, before I called him this time, he probably would have said, no, I'm not looking, I'm not interested. You know,
Timing's
it's gotta
everything.
be the right time.
Yeah, it's like a not yet. The answer is not yet. Yeah.
But if you're trying to win the SummerSlam, non-licensed people will not get it done.
Yeah, that's, okay. Do you want me to,
I mean, that's probably why Brent and Kyle are hiring so many licensed people right now. You can't win if you're hiring non-licensed.
Because it takes too long before we get
Okay.
started.
Unless you got a pipeline.
what's our objective in the alliance?
To have a good fit.
To win the SummerSlam?
Yeah! I want my guys on my team to win the SummerSlam.
That seems like a good
Let's do a
objective.
long game.
I'm a long game kind of guy.
Yeah.
Look, if it gets someone off their rusty dusty, start doing something,
Rusty
that's what I think, believe about contests. But I'm not going to go and book an appointment with them to write an app on themselves, which is actually a good thing to do probably. But I want them to do it because of all the reasons why I encourage people that they should do it, is to get credibility for themselves, to make sure they've got integrity when they're out selling, and then they can show their policy at the end of the appointment. Like, I've got those 3 reasons, and I'll let them make the decision. I'm not gonna, because it tells me something about them, right? I'm not gonna give up a clue that maybe this is someone I should work with if they buy their own policy. When they buy their own policy because of the reasons I told them, not because I'm booking an appointment with them to have them write a policy so I can win the SummerSlam or get points or whatever. It's like someone's, I heard my name on the leaderboard for veteran recruiting. I didn't even know what number it was. And it's like, okay, whatever. People are going, dude, you're awesome. It's like, oh God. It's like, I'm not, it's whatever, it's like, it doesn't, so maybe I'll win money, I don't care. It's like, I don't care about that. I care about that I have 6 people that thought enough about themselves to write a policy on themselves. And it's like, man, I'm going to get them leads because I made an override on it. I might as well get them started, prime the pump with leads. So does that make sense? Like how my brain works? Your brain, your brain works differently, but so we're done. I hope I helped you.
Thank you very much.
That was amazing.